The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaraya Productions.
Wait, don't start yet. What episode number is this?
104.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tokucast Reviews. I'm not used to you being on the ball like that, okay?
I'm just guessing, but I get the feeling I'm right.
God damn it, Marcus.
104.
Just because you're right doesn't mean that you are right.
But he was right.
Yeah.
I'm referring to two different things. Anyway.
You're being right.
Episode 104.
Episode 104!
Mm-hmm.
Marcus has been looking forward to this one for a while.
I have. Welcome to the beginning of Ex-Aid month.
We haven't had a month in a while.
Because we haven't had anything worth a month for. So.
It's debatable that this is worth a month.
It is.
I said it's debatable.
No, it is.
Anyway. This is what it's like arguing with him.
Ex-Aid! We're finally here. The one I've been waiting for this entire time. Which hits a lot differently watching this show this year.
Oh, yeah.
For various reasons.
Half of this show deals with the pandemic. So I'm just like, well.
Too real.
It's like, oh no.
Alright, but let's start where we always do.
The opening. We all know how I feel about it.
S top tier
Yes.
number one.
It's so good.
Do you agree?
I agree it's good. I don't think it's, best of the best, give it a gold medal.
It
It's all
feels
platinum.
very K-poppy. Do you agree?
Yes.
K-pop, J-pop, yeah. Daisuke Miura
Which
really
is
straddles the
why
line.
he loves it so much and panders to him.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I
I'd
just
say there
love
was.
one person who can, actually get some singing notes, especially with what we came off of,
That's
what
fair.
we're going into with Be the One, which I don't like.
God.
But also,
Don't remind me about Be the One.
this introduced me to the artist,
Mm-hmm.
and I love a lot of
And
his
he
music.
fell down a hole so
I
hard.
did. I don't really do J-pop as much as I do, well, at least
K-pop?
not modern J-pop or
Mhm.
K-pop. I'm a big K-pop person, big city pop person, but it's just like modern J-pop. But just like with him, he's one of those few people that I'm just like, he has something new coming out. I'm getting the album. I just really enjoyed him. I love a person who can dance. This is the first time I've ever actually talked about the actual video that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
He is an incredible dancer.
Okay.
And I love a person who can dance.
We'll have
So
to take your word for
it's just amazing.
it. Anyway.
I think the opening, I think it's okay. It definitely grew on me more as the show went on.
I was about to say, because I'm pretty sure you fucking hated it.
I did, and I definitely don't love it. I wouldn't put it in the upper echelon of Kamen Rider openings or Toku openings in general. However, one of the things I liked the most about it was how it was used
Yeah.
throughout the show, especially in the first half, where instead of playing the opening at the beginning of the show...
Oh, that was like that second arc.
Yeah,
Where
the
they
second
just didn't
arc,
play it.
where we just get our title card, and then the show just starts, and then we get the ending theme at the
I
end.
need to watch the newest episode of that.
And-
Title card.
Yeah, because really
It's
it's
a fitting
just
reference.
It is.
the only time that you heard it when they didn't play at the beginning of like that span like 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Was near the end.
I
because
honestly
everything
wish
got so
I wish
great.
they had kept that up because it.
So
I
I wouldn't have to
liked how the
listen to
show. I liked how the show was paced because of as a result
Mhm.
because it allowed us to take that minute and a half and put more of it towards story, and then because they play the song at the end, but the credits are playing over the action,
Yeah.
so there's still stuff going on,
Yeah.
and I like that a lot.
It really made the show, even just as a whole, this show is paced really well.
Oh goodness, yes.
That's the one thing. Coming off of Ghost.
I'm gonna be honest, because I finished watching the show this morning.
Okay.
Like right before I came over here, I finished the last episode.
Mhm.
I
So
Was not
the
able
ending
to
is still
watch
pretty fresh in my head.
every episode, I did have to jump around. My last 2 weeks have been so fucking busy. So I apologize, but I got as much as I could done.
But we can split this show up into 4 arcs,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which helps consolidate things a little bit. So we're going to talk about the first
Oh,
12 episodes.
before we
of the
continue,
thing.
should we? I don't know if you heard. I'm pretty sure the actress from Ryu Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
the girl from Ryu Soldier, the one who was filming everything. She had the YouTube channel in the show. They lived with her.
Like
The main girl who wasn't a Ryu Soldier.
Okay, yeah.
Main girls.
Yeah, she passed away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She's 25.
She
That's
had.
terrible.
That's why when you I know you didn't get there, but the further along the show went, she wasn't there as much.
Uh-huh.
She had a lot of health issues.
Oh dear.
In the background.
So moment of silence.
Sad day.
2020 can go fuck itself.
It was one of those things. It's just like.
Was it COVID related or?
No.
They just said no. She had health issues prior.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's why she wasn't in the filming of Real Soldier at the end.
I understand.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that was.
But they didn't. They haven't officially said what it was. They just said she was sick.
Yeah. But back to Ex-Aid.
Rest in peace. Anyway, sorry. I just remembered that.
Let's talk about the first couple episodes just as a thing, because we get introduced to our main character, our main setting, which is a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, by the way.
I love the.
It's a nice new setting.
Yeah.
I love
A lot of things about this show are very fresh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that it's much more of a, I don't want to say serious plot with how some things go later in the show.
I don't know. It gets pretty serious. People start dying.
But in terms of also the comedy, it also gets really absurdist.
We'll talk about him.
Yes.
It gets very goofy.
Yes. But
not terrible.
I like the idea of this.
Not terrible, but still not good.
I like the idea that
in some cases.
He's what, a resident or an intern?
He's an intern.
He was an intern, and then he actually a resident, more or less, and then he became an actual doctor as the show went along.
Right.
He graduated.
I love that idea.
I did find it a little weird that the nurses are all calling him sensei when he's still an intern, but I'm also ignorant on how the Japanese
do that.
medical system works.
Yeah, in America, those nurses would be like, "Sit down, baby, I'll handle this." I've watched Scrubs. Which apparently is one of the more accurate medical television shows out there in terms of what hospital life is actually like.
Yeah, nightmare.
Anyway, I love these concepts that he's a doctor and that he's also really good at video games.
And he was
my biggest I can't talk. My biggest issue with this show is the aesthetics.
Let's talk about level 1, because that's the first one.
Fucking despise it.
I understand why.
Yeah,
they did it.
Mm-hmm.
From a story perspective, it makes 100% total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't change the fact that it looks terrible.
Oh yeah,
it looks terrible, and especially in the first half of the show, when they
actually use it
it's not just that it's used more, but whenever one of the riders henshin, they have to henshin into level 1 first.
Until they get past that, yeah.
Undercuts so many dramatic moments and kills the pacing.
Because you have to look like this.
Because it's not just that you have to look like this. It's that we get, the henshin sequences, I think, in this show take far too long.
Especially at the beginning.
Especially at the beginning.
Because it's a whole character selection thing. And
it's not just that. It's just, there's so much noise and just cacophony. It's just a big cacophony.
I'm a KAmen Rider.
I don't mind that, but it's the nonsense leading up to it that I have a bit of a problem with, or a lot of a problem with. But, you have this, characters will be confronting each other, there'll be a big dramatic moment, they'll stare each other down, and then we have this long henshin sequence, and then they transform into level 1, and it's like, oh, come on.
Until they stop doing that.
How do you expect me to take
it just kills the mood.
It really does.
I will say this, though.
Because it's like, we shall fight to the death. Yes, we shall. We are now theme park mascots.
Before I get into the more, the actual story pacing of this, I love, and this is the only time you really hear me say this because it makes sense, I love the way that the form changes work. At the beginning of an RPG, you start at level 1, but you level up quickly. So when you start getting those other levels really quickly at the beginning of the show for everybody, it makes complete and utter sense from a game perspective.
I get that.
I was going to say, we do get a lot of forms.
My issue isn't with the pacing of the forms, because at this point, because of shows like Ghost, Saber, I'm used to it. I'm used to lots of forms.
It's just how they look.
01 also was guilty of this in the beginning. Lots of forms very quickly, very early. My issue is just the aesthetics.
I don't really mind the aesthetics.
I hate Ex-Aid. His look.
I was just saying, you gotta be a little more specific.
Fair enough. I hate Ex-Aid's look. It's the same. I don't like Decade's look for almost the same reason. I hate neon pink. This is absolutely subjective. This is absolutely subjective. No, that's neon fucking pink.
But Decade's magenta. Thanks, Zia.
Anyway.
Good for something.
My argument, and I know this doesn't make sense with a later character, but my argument on what to change and He is a fusion of, I guess, Japan.
Fuchsia. A fusion of fuchsia.
I'm going to kick both of you.
I'm right here.
Later. Let me finish my fucking point. He is a combination of, I guess, Japan's two most popular video game characters, Sonic and Mario. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Mario's primary color is what?
And Mega Man.
Fair. Doesn't change my point. Mario's primary color is what?
Red and blue.
Sonic is?
Blue.
Mega Man is?
Blue.
Red and blue make what?
Purple.
Thank you. Make him purple. I understand that there is another character who is a primary color purple later. However, I feel like it would have just made more sense to make him purple, and all the fucking photoshops I see of him purple look better.
Okay, here's how I feel about the aesthetics of the game.
At least for him, because we're talking about Brave and the others.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm talking about like the entire show.
Because he's the only one I haven't made.
There are some costumes in this
we'll get to her
show
later.
that I think look like hot garbage.
Oh yeah,
but as far as the level 2 goes, and even the costumes I don't like, I love how unique everything is. There is no other Toku show that is as bright, as sharp, or as visually striking as this. In terms of its suits.
Especially when you contrast it with the tone of the show as we end up going along.
Yeah.
It's like, this is such a departure from what we have. It's very contrasting, so I love that, because it makes you pay attention.
Because I get that. It's just, like I said, my biggest issue is that it's neon pink, and I don't think that's very visually striking.
I forgot about that.
Oh, God. Also, the minions look fucking terrible, but we'll get there.
You mean the roasted chicken heads?
Yes.
Yeah, what is the roasted chicken from?
A cooking game, I assume?
No, it's
Streets of Rage, I think?
It might be from Streets of Rage.
Because there are beat-em-ups, or Golden Axe, it might have been Golden Axe.
Where they have, like, you know...
You kill an enemy, it'll drop food, you eat it, and you get health.
Oh, okay.
A lot of beat-em-ups. It's food on the ground.
And RPGs.
Yeah. Before I get into the story, I do want to bring up just a couple other things. I love the power item, like the power token items that you got to break open.
I liked how sometimes they were physical objects that were props in the
world
as opposed to CG.
No, I think the concept of video games as a combat style was really integrated well into the show.
I agree.
With the levels and everything. Again, my only argument was the aesthetics. And, like, the other level 2 forms, I think, look fine. Especially Brave. Fucking love Brave.
Another thing I love about the show is its locations.
Oh yeah,
they
a lot of unique locations.
A lot of locations we either haven't seen before or are used, or familiar ones that are reused in interesting ways.
Yeah,
we get a different angle. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in terms of hot garbage, Snipe in that fucking the
battleship.
The battleship form.
We'll talk about that one later.
Holy fuck!
But
we'll get there.
I want to go back to at least just episode 1 really quickly, because they bring up Emu's name. His name is Emu, not Emu. But he is also a...
Genius Gamer M.
Yes. But, yeah. But the nurse ends up bringing up his name. They have like this whole government organization at the top.
The Ministry.
Yeah, the Ministry of Health. That is really keeping a lot of the Buckster virus issues under wraps.
That sounds real familiar.
It's just this year.
A government organization underplaying a pandemic?
No. They're not claiming it's a democratic hoax. A little bit different.
But here's the question though. If the public became aware of it, would they call it a hoax?
No, because people are still getting attacked. And it's actually being filmed this time around. It's very...
But let me ask you this. Would Donald Trump still call it a hoax?
It doesn't matter.
I don't want to make this too political.
It doesn't matter.
Let's keep ourselves focused.
But I love the fact that the first time he transforms, there's an immediate mystery set up with the fact that when he actually, clicks the device, his eyes flash red.
His eyes flash red and his hair changes.
Yeah, it's like the wind just happens. He has his own personal
Wherever
fan.
I go, the wind follows me.
Yes, like Beyonce.
And it smells like rain.
But
I approve of that reference.
I love that it immediately sets up a mystery of, okay, what? Like, what's happening?
For me, it wasn't such a mystery of, okay, what? It was like, oh, so he's got like 2 different sides to his personality.
But not without, but like, I wouldn't call it's not...
As you go along further in the story, it start making sense why that happened.
Yeah.
because his personality does change a little bit. Like they make a thing of it later when it's like one half of his personality says ore, and the other one says the more formal
Watashi.
boku.
Boku is more. I don't think Boku is formal, is it?
It's a lot less, I'll say, aggressive.
Okay.
Yeah, in the way that they end up working it. But there are other doctors just around, so we have to talk about Hiro.
I never noticed that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot his name was Hiro.
It's a common Japanese name.
It's a name.
I know,
it's
but
a name.
no, but Brave Hero.
Let's talk about his...
Just to play on words is my point.
His first suit.
I like it.
Oh god, I love his level 2 form.
It's cyan.
Title Quest.
Yes.
Printer? They're printer colors. Cyan. Magenta, I guess, more or less in Ex-Aid's case. And green is the other one? Or yellow? Yellow's green?
Probably.
It's like bright neon green.
Yeah. It's like a neon yellow, neon green.
Mm-hmm.
They're printer colors.
It's yellow, but
That's green.
Close enough.
yeah, it's close enough.
Oh, I'm talking about. Yeah.
No, I googled printer colors.
And
okay.
Genma is
Because
black.
it's supposed to be red, blue, and yellow because those are primary colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it works a little bit different when
But
you
it's brighter. They're
No.
brighter because
I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch, Marcus, but I see where you're going.
But no, they are printer colors.
Yeah.
no, I see what he said.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional. I think is what he's trying to say.
It might have been.
I don't think it is.
But yeah,
Because there's no point. There's no correlation to that.
No, there is no correlation. I think it just might have been a thing that just happened.
That's why I said it's not intentional.
Yeah. Or it might have been and they just hit it there, but who knows? We do end up getting introduced to Taiga as well, because Hiro's personality is a little bit very standoffish.
The hero is the surgeon.
Yes,
The gifted surgeon with an affinity for sweets.
He always says, no, thank you, though. And we have Taiga, who, once we end up getting to his movie, I think this is one of those times where, because we end up getting so much around these other characters, that the extraneous media actually really works in this case.
Do you think he didn't get enough development in this show?
We didn't get his...
Because I think he did.
He did, but we didn't get like the explicit motivation that we get from his movie.
I don't know that we needed it.
I
feel like the show gave him enough.
I'm kind of with Jacob on this one.
I feel like this show gave every character enough.
It did, but we needed...
It might not have always been good, but I think they got enough.
I think we needed just a little bit of filling, at least with him, because he was the first person to fight against the bug survivors 5 years before all of this happened.
On Zero Day.
Yeah, and he more or less ended up getting fired from the CDC because of that. Not
The
CDC,
unlicensed doctor.
The CRC. CR.
Cyber Rescue Squad.
Yes. CR.
CRS. They just call it CR.
Yeah. So I think having at least that fill in the blank of what happened 5 years prior at least fleshes out his character. It doesn't just do nothing. Mm-hmm. It's not just, here's a movie, new form. It's like, no, this is what happened to make him the way that he was at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. Because he's very, very standoffish and very aggressive at the beginning. Even willing to put other people's lives more or less at stake when he ends up capturing people's bugsters. Also, I love the bugsters, like just the monsters in this show.
Oh, really? I thought they looked like hot garbage.
I just think they have...
I think they look okay. I was not a huge fan of the way they were used early on.
Where they were just like infection to get the game data.
Yeah, but considering where the show goes,
yeah,
it works from a story perspective.
I love them later on because they get so sidelined.
I liked it less when they had more of a personality. When they were just monsters, I liked it more.
I liked them more when they had a little bit more personality, just because of the fact that they get sidelined super hard later on. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but it's like reasons.
They always want to do something, but they can't.
I like that the monsters are actually born from humans. We're revisiting that concept again, as we have in shows like O's.
Yeah,
but
where it's just
no. I think it. I wouldn't say.
I wouldn't say a wizard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think. Yeah. I mean.
Better Wizard.
I was thinking
O's.
O's was the example I was thinking of in particular, but yes.
Sorry, I immediately.
But also Forza did it too, and
Forza also did it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the villains. Okay, there we go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because we have our villains at the beginning. We have Graphite, who I think is incredibly handsome. He's a very good looking man.
A lot of the people in the show are.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the show are very good looking.
Yeah. Parado, who we don't really end up getting something as much until a little bit later on. But his story is amazing. I love his story. I think he's one of my favorite villains that we've had in the past while. Simply because of the fact that
I can see why.
He just doesn't get it. And I love that about him. We do have to talk about...
We can talk more about him later.
Yeah, I wanted to see how you two felt about Poppy People Popo.
Hater.
Okay.
By the way, this should be a thumbnail.
Oh, it's Cuphead.
Yeah.
Cool. I beat that game.
Anyway.
I'm proud of myself. Poppy / Asuna.
Yeah.
In the first 25 episodes, I so wish they had just cast 2 actresses. I wish it had been 2 people because...
That would make so much more sense.
It would have, and then seeing where the show goes...
Yeah.
There would not... I don't know that there would have been room for 2 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have casted them and then...
You could have completely reworked... You would have had to completely rework the second half of the show if you were to use 2 actresses.
Or, just spitballing here, and it could start off as 2 actresses and maybe the Bugster virus fuses them somehow to get that... to kind of work around it. Yeah, I know that's a stretch.
It's a stretch, but yeah, it's something you could do, but I don't... Again, I'm trying to judge by what's here, not by what I want.
I know, but
Poppy, I did not like her at first.
Yeah,
like in the first couple episodes, it was just like, oh goodness, this is a stupid idea. Why are they the same person? I don't like this. This is a dumb idea. Why? And then as the show went on, especially in the second half, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. They managed to take her character in what I thought was a very interesting direction. The Kamen Rider Poppy episode, it's one of my favorite episodes.
Like the actual one in show?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't sure you were talking about the movie. Okay.
No, because I haven't watched it. The Kamen Rider Poppy episode in show, I thought was absolutely fantastic, and the way they handled her transition, to the dark side, if you will, and the way everything they did with her was so much. This show as a whole, forgive me if I ramble. I have a tendency to do that, but this show as a whole goes to emotional depths that I did not expect it to go. For all of its characters.
Yeah.
And even the characters that I didn't like even up to the end, there were characters that I was like, oh, come on, really? We're doing this again? And there were characters that from their introduction, I was just kind of like, I don't like you very much. And that more or less continued throughout, but the show still managed to surprise me.
Yeah. Let's go back to the beginning a little bit, because we do also end up seeing... who's not named until later, but we'll go ahead and call him that now, the Dark Ex-Aid, Kamen Rider Genmu. Who is basically using a prototype version of the Mighty Action X Gashat. Before we go any further, before we actually get to talking about Genmu, what do we think about the belt and the items? I think the belt
you mean the Gashats?
Yeah.
The Gashats and
the Gashats and the belt, I like it a lot.
I do too.
But the one thing I don't like, and this is a very, very minor quibble, it was blowing on the cartridge.
No, I thought that was so cool!
Don't blow on the cartridge! That only makes it worse.
But that's not the point. The point is that we all did it anyway.
Yeah.
We all did it anyway.
And the fact that
idiots.
It wasn't planned. The suit actor just did it.
He just did it?
Yeah. He did it on one of the takes, and the director was like, keep it.
I understand.
Because it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
No, everybody knows that you shouldn't blow in the cartridge. We were all kids and we all did it anyway.
Oh, I know. I'm guilty as charged.
That's the point, is that we're, because also, blowing on it does nothing. It's not a cartridge.
It's not just that it does nothing, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the gas shot, not a cartridge.
Yeah.
It's not a cartridge. There's no dust to blow off. Also, he's wearing a helmet. That's the point.
He still needs to breathe, so there's got to be some kind of air filtration.
But my point is that it is just as useful blowing on a gas shot it is blowing on a cartridge.
It's just
it works on so many levels.
I just love the fact that it was so minor and it was unplanned.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And then And then we get the finish.
It doesn't happen a lot.
It's just an Easter egg. It's literally all it is.
Yeah, we also do want to get into.
At least it has a point. At least it has more of a point.
But getting back to the gosh shots and the belts themselves, I
the belt's huge.
I think that's my only issue with it. Is the belt's a little bit too big.
I still like how it was used, so it didn't bother me that much.
I just think
it works with the aesthetic of the suits. So
I think what it would have made it better in terms of size is that instead of they rotate the gash at like the slots 90 degrees, so it's more like the saber belt where they go in sideways. That way it can be a lot less.
It can be a little slim.
It can be a little slimmer, and also that's how cartridges work. They don't go perpendicular to the console. They go, it's the cartridge faces you when you put it in. Essentially, when you think about it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Black Ex-Aid. Genma.
It looks fine.
You're just talking about the suit?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, it looks fine. It looks better than Ex-Aid, but I already had my rant.
I disagree.
Black and purple. Such a good color scheme when you put it together like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I just think he looks
I like his, I think it was level 3, the zombie form.
This level 3 is Sharkiri Sports.
Oh, that's right. Fuck.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of this one either. It looks bad.
Is anybody. Also, fuck this.
Let's talk
entire concept.
Let's talk about my favorite character
Laser.
in the show.
No,
I love Laser.
No, I'm not talking about his character.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying that he deserved better than to be the bike for the first 10 episodes.
It's a role he played well.
And the fact that they really set it up with how at least a lot of his initial things are going to be going out, because his whole thing for the first part of the show up until episode 12, from his introduction, just finding out the mystery of the Bucksters, feeling a lot of guilt over the fact that he more or less caused his friend's death by telling them the truth. So he's built up a lot of his things now by lying, which does amazing things for his character.
No, but yeah, my point is that you should not limit another character to be the bike in any way.
Well, he wasn't just the bike.
Yeah.
I know, but it every time he turned into the bike, it just felt like a waste.
Only happened in the first 12 episodes.
That's all I'm referring to is the first 12 episodes. It just feels like a waste. Give Ex-Aid a bike and have somebody else in the battlefield who can also do damage. It just seems like bad strategy.
I disagree. I like it this way.
I like it this way.
I think it works.
I don't think
teamwork, baby.
I don't think a person being the bike is...
Also, he just decides to be asshole, man. And the only reason they end up beating the first one is because of the fact that he lied to Imu.
I'm not saying the bike can't be a character. I just don't think like an entire form for a rider should be the bike.
I mean, at least later on, when other things end up happening, he's no longer the form for the bike. He's just the catalyst for the way that the bike shows up initially. And then they just end up using his gas shot just to get the bike, but till the very end when he actually ends up coming back as the bike. So let's talk about these first 12 episodes and how Peridot and Graphite ends up actually becoming the catalyst for the pandemic by spreading the Buckster virus to a whole bunch of people from the top of a building in the city. Yep. And which ends up setting up the first part of it, besides Dan Masamune. I mean, not Masamune, Kuroto Dan, being the head of the corporation who's providing all of this stuff to CR.
Yeah, the Genma Corporation.
Yes, the Genma Corporation, but he's also the one in the background, doing all the stuff with the Bucksters, working with them, and getting all this information for this game, Kamen Rider Chronicle, that he wants to make. Yep. Which he needs to infect people with the Buckster virus at the beginning.
To get the data.
To get the data after the riders.
We have to clear all these games.
Yeah.
The games, meaning the gas shots. You do a finisher with them, you defeat a Buckster, we get our data, and that's how we'll move forward in development.
Yep. They do end up having, stronger gas shots as we come along. Gekitotsu robots.
Is there any good-looking level 3 forms?
I hate Heroes.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because it doesn't do anything for him. Although I do love how he worked the beat thing, because he didn't get how the music was working, but he worked it like he was...
The first rhythm game scene...
Well, I mean...
That was pretty funny.
We just got the beat out.
But it makes sense, because do you know how people... You know how they teach medical profession? Staying alive. Yeah. Yeah, when you do chest compressions...
No, I've taken CPR classes twice. No one has ever taught it that way.
Yeah, I just use techno.
Every doctor I listen to online says you can do chest compressions for the need of staying alive.
Okay, well that's online. I'm talking about the actual classes I have attended. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just speaking from my own experience.
See, that should have been like his level 2.
Kiria's level 3 looks great.
It does.
I love how his level 3 looks.
I like that it's bulkier than the rest.
Yeah, it just looks so wide.
Yeah.
Like he turns around and you're hitting something. I just love how big he looks.
I like Kiria, not a fan of this form.
And then, of course, everybody ends up getting their level 5. But
It's
a monster hunter.
Mm.
So they all end up working together to beat the bad guy, which is the basis of Monster Hunter.
Whatever.
Unless you get broken later on. I don't play
solo
game. But yeah, I don't like any of the level 5 stuff.
Nope.
I think it all looks bad, but I love the fact that this is the first time they actually really all end up coming together to work together as an actual
I like that scene
team.
a lot.
Yeah.
Where everyone gets a different part of the dragon and they beat Gemma.
Yeah. We'll talk about this one a little bit.
Oh, God.
There's a reason, though. But
then in true Kamen Rider fashion, the main rider gets all of them.
No, because he's the first one who gets it, but he can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else ends up...
No one's able to control it completely. It isn't until they are able to share and play like good little boys that they're actually able to control any part of it.
Sharing is caring.
That it is. Sharing is kicking ass.
Excuse me.
Let me double check, because I'm trying to see exactly when Double X comes in. Give me just a second. I have a lot of stuff open. No, that's what that happens. I don't think Double X comes in until after.
We can still just talk.
Yep. But yeah, Kiria's whole thing at the beginning is finding out who the Black Ex-Aid is, which he's the first one who finds it out, and then he of course ends up telling everybody after a little bit.
Hey guys, I found out who it is. It's Dan, but then they beat him, and he dehensions, and it's
Peridot.
It's Peridot, and oops, guess we can't trust you anymore.
Yeah. And so it turns out that they actually can trust him. After Dan finally comes out and, shows that he is, his ego starts taking over ever so slightly around this time. I love it.
This man's ego.
His ego is amazing. But yeah, it starts taking over. And the more and more it takes over, the more megalomaniacal that he gets. And
yeah,
that's one word.
It really starts to hurt
That's
him.
another.
Cartoon character.
I love it.
For this show, you could say it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I didn't say it wasn't appropriate. Doesn't mean I have to enjoy it.
Also true.
But yeah, the further that he ends up going along, and the fact they finally end up finding out that it is him, and then he starts creating another gashat for a new game for Zombie.
Dangerous Zombie.
Dangerous Zombie, which he needs death energy for. So the way that they end up working, they actually have a health bar on their chest, and the more
I did love that.
Yeah, the more they get hit, the more it goes down, and once you go all the way down, you die.
My memory does not remember. It really only remembers them at full health and them at almost dead. There really wasn't a lot of in between from my memory.
That starts to happen a little bit more later.
They're glass cannons.
Yeah, as the fights start going on.
See, I like his explanation better.
And the more they end up going along, the more So all the data more or less does end up getting collected, but he still needs the data for Dangerous Zombie. So he more or less makes himself go offline by getting a technical game over, by putting all the death energy that was generated from his words into the gashat to actually complete it. When he almost kills a kid.
Yeah.
This show is really not afraid to go there, to be fair.
This show is not afraid to kill.
No, it's not. Let's talk about Christmas, because that's coming up in a few weeks. Ryder, and since I love to do this thing sometimes, where they'll put something really heavy on a Christmas episode, because the way that this Christmas special targeting the Silver X-Men ends up working, is that there's a half that I hate, and a half that I love to hate, because it's good.
But let me ask you this. Is there a child who hates Christmas?
No.
Already better than Geki Ranger.
Well, we can talk about this part here.
No, we had kids who hate video games in the first couple episodes.
Yeah, there is... Kiria goes to prison, just to visit, to talk to Dan's dad, Dan Masamune, to figure out exactly what happened on Zero Day all those years ago. And we also end up getting introduced to Nico's side. But I have issues with her. They do get a little bit lesser as the story goes along, but still. But Kiria comes across Dan in this episode, who has Dangerous Zombie. Let's talk about Dangerous Zombie, actually.
Jesus Christ.
I want to talk about this suit.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Dangerous Zombie.
The black and white.
It looks so good.
I like this one.
It's such a...
Haven't seen this color scheme since Fang Joker, I think.
Yeah, and I think the thing that really helps is the fact that they have another visor, the logo visor, that he uses as his transmission device at this point.
And not to mention, I think the asymmetry really works.
Yeah. It's like a symmetrical more or less up here, and then the further you go down, it's
he's
like
rotting.
splotchy. Yeah, he's rotting. And I love when he transforms to like punches through the screen to like come through. What is it? The first or second time he does it, and he punches through, and there's a zoom in on his face.
The zoom in and the finishing pose where he's just like ready to strike. I like it a lot.
And when he dies, he like gets back up.
I love the reanimation stuff.
He a World War Z zombie. He ain't one of those walkers.
He's a fast zombie. But yeah, Kiria gets a little bit too close to the truth. So Kiria
trying to die.
Yeah, Dan kills him in episode 12.
He dies
on Christmas. Merry Christmas.
It's a Christmas
Here's
miracle.
some death.
It happens.
This is the Krampus version, not the Santa version. But yeah,
good movie.
He just straight up kills him in this episode. I love it.
I liked it too.
I like that.
I didn't love it, but I liked it.
I like that they went there, but I wish they would have stayed there.
They more or less did.
They did for a while, and they did better than Build. I'll give them that much.
It's just like, hey, tone shift. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
But Peridot finally ends up getting his own form. By this point, Graphite has been beaten. And we also need to get some information that Graphite was the Buckster of Hero's girlfriend who died on Zero Day. So all of her information is more or less in him for the moment.
Excuse me.
But Peridot wants to play a little bit.
He wants to play a lot.
He wants to play quite a bit. So we end up getting in episode 15 a new challenger in Peridot.
Here comes a new challenger.
Yes. He doesn't actually have a gamer driver. So he has like this little side one, but he has a double Gashat at level 50.
2 games in 1.
Yes, perfect puzzle and knockout fighter.
I honestly adored this concept.
Yeah, having the 2 forms in 1.
I liked both concept and execution.
Oh yeah, and I love the look. I like how different they are, but yet similar, and you could see like how it would translate to a toy.
Yeah. I think the only thing I don't like about it, and I understand why it's this way on this form and not on the other one, I don't like the collar on Perfect Puzzle.
The collar or the color?
The collar.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's just like, it feels...
Like a turtleneck times 10?
Yeah, it feels really constrictive around the neck.
So a tortoise neck?
The door is over there.
I think we're just sad that we didn't think of it.
God damn it. Just God, son of a whore.
Son of a whore biscuit.
You had to actually go back.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
We do have to go back a little bit because a couple episodes before that, we do end up getting another form for Emu, where he actually creates a new form.
Like you do.
Mighty Brothers Double X.
Another concept I really liked that I thought was pulled off well.
Except for level 1, or the level 1 aesthetic, obviously.
Regardless.
Yeah. It's definitely an idea that I don't know if can ever be done as well.
No, because we really can't do the same concept again with the way that this works. Because they do bring with the fact that how does Emu transform when he didn't have like the compatibility surgery done on him? And then they're figuring out that he has a Buster out there. Or at least a Buster inside of him. They're trying to make it come out. So actually, after this form comes, I'm going to talk about this form in a second. After this form is coming in, they Hiro and Taiga start like actually fighting against him to try to get the Bugster to come out. Also, Nico is there. She's not great at the beginning of the show.
She's not great throughout the show.
I think she gets better as...
I found her to be very annoying.
Oh yeah, she definitely is.
I was just referring to the idea of a Kamen Rider form splitting them into two.
Let's talk about the split into two. One, I love the fact that, if I remember correctly, they're negatives of each other.
I don't know about that.
Like, I think somebody did it. They actually put... like.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. For some reason, I was thinking magnets. Negatives and positives.
All right. Yeah, like they actually put a negative filter over them, and it is this one.
I just thought they were...
Well, teal and orange are opposite sides of the color spectrum.
So that's probably... Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Again, and also, teal and orange, not something you see in Toku much.
No.
You don't see magenta much either.
You see it a lot in Hollywood movies, but not a lot in Toku.
Yeah, let's talk about this
Remy
one.
Tim.
I love it.
I love the idea. I love the fact that
the face is on their shoulder.
Yep, and that they can do the
pose.
Not a huge fan of how it looks, but I like how it was used.
I mean,
I like the colors. I'm just not a huge fan of the way the suit looks.
Can I ask you to elaborate on that?
I just don't think it looks good.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know.
It looks better in motion also than it does in still photographs.
Also true.
I love the first time it comes out and they look at each other like, eh?
Who are you? Who are you?
I mean, wouldn't you? You'd be a little confused. Just be like, wait.
Because one side is Gamer Emu, and the other one is Dr. Emu. And it also comes with a new weapon. Also, I will say this now, before it just comes up, because this is the first time this has happened in a minute. Actually, no, because Ghost didn't have one either. It doesn't have its own, like, the final form doesn't have its own personal weapon.
And does it need it?
No.
That's
not when your hair is your weapon, no.
Also, it's like, oh god, what's the stand called in part 5 at the end? Gold Experience.
Requiem.
Yeah, like, did he need a weapon? No.
He is the weapon.
Exactly.
And the defense. But yeah, the Gashikon Key Slasher, which incorporates both of their color schemes into it. It's just a weapon that exists. I wanted to bring it up.
Why?
Because he wanted to.
Yeah, we haven't talked about any other weapon.
Yeah, really don't need to.
We didn't talk about how this is the first Kamen Rider who uses a hammer.
Right, he does have a hammer.
Fight of hammer.
An actual hammer. You smart-ass son of a bitch.
Which is, a callback to Mario, of course.
Did you watch, and you can edit this out if you want, did you watch the AWU where someone sent...
I haven't watched AWU in such a long time. Oh, I actually saw this one where they sent him...
They sent Michael Jones, at Achievement Hunter, the mallet from Ex-Aid. He's like, I have no fucking idea what this is.
They just used it to hit people.
And then just used it to hit people.
Well, that is what you do with one.
But yeah.
I figured if you had seen any AWU moment, it would have been that.
In episode 15, that's when we end up getting Peridot's thing. And this is around the same time they figure out that Peridot is Emu's Bugster. So they're like, well, shit.
An appropriate reaction.
And then, of course, because with Dan Matsumoto more or less, I'll just call him Kuroto. Kuroto more or less is being hunted down by the Ministry of Health. So somebody ends up taking over the company for a little bit. And, I love this guy. I just think he's so nice. And he just wants to do the best. And he creates the best Bugster in the show with Burgermon!
The burger one.
Burgermon!
I will leave.
I love Burgermon.
This is, I think, a great example of this show and how it tells its story.
Yeah.
You'd think this would be a filler episode. It's not.
No. It is.
It comes after a pretty heavy plot moment.
Yeah.
It lets you breathe a little bit.
Let's have some fun with Burgermon.
But
and level 4.
But there is stuff in this episode that it does pay off later.
Yes.
Even pays off in the last episode.
Because Kuroto and Peridot have a very tenuous relationship at best.
Shall we say.
In some cases. And Peridot, does like his other Bugsters. They're just part of the game. So if they have to get defeated, they get defeated. But at the end of the day, they're just part of the game. If they don't have anything to do with the actual game, he'll leave them alone. As he showed beforehand when he actually beat a Bugster.
Keep up with you.
when he actually beat a Bugster for getting in the middle of a fight between him and Emu, because they have their whole thing now. But in episode 17 with Bergamon, at the end of the episode, because Dan says that it is an unofficial game that he did not make, Bergamon has no use.
So he has to die.
In front of Taiga, Nico, the new CEO, who was actually like the person who Bergamon was named from, and Peridot, which is the big one, he just kills Bergamon. Like, and the way that his finisher works, it brings up like a whole bunch of Shadow Demon copies and just destroys that person.
Like a horde of zombies.
Yeah, like a horde of zombies. And it was just so unnecessary why he did it. But it really made...
Not to him, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But like, it really made everybody hate him.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in that moment.
You killed the burger. You gotta die now.
Like, you had no reason to. You just decided to do it. So you decided to be a bastard. And then next episode,
well, he's been being a bastard for pretty much this entire show now.
Yeah. That's kind of his shtick.
And I love how in the next episode it really sets up for how the end of the show is going to go. When Emu and Genma are fighting, and Peridot comes in and punches the shit out of Genma into a mountain. It's still one of my favorite scenes because he goes knockout fighter and then just goes full star platinum on Genma's ass.
No, that's the world.
No, but he's still. But I'm choosing that one because useless.
No, that's later when we get the plausibility.
God damn it.
Yeah, he just beats the crap out of them, and then Dan. I remember watching like behind the scenes for this episode and how the fact they did this take multiple times, and so Dan's actor was tired, and that's where like the laughter came in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the sleepy ha-has?
Yeah. Pretty much. Like, it just
it's been a long day of shooting.
He got more maniacal.
I mean,
as it went along.
It happens. There was I watched apparently there was a scene in Drake and Josh that Josh Peck did a bit because he was so tired and he knew it would make Drake laugh. They were threatening this teenage boy, and Josh, where they're going to start fighting, Josh just takes his shoes off. And they're in a movie theater. And Drake apparently busted out laughing. They were just so fucking tired.
But in this case, it worked a lot better for the character because it sets him up pretty much for the rest of the show.
Valid.
And in this case, the whole truth about Peridot being a thing, and that really just overwhelms Emu for quite a little bit, and also features the debut of the Fantasy Gamer and the other dual Gashat that they make in this one. And so, the truth is now out there. Peridot is Emu's Bugster, and Emu was the catalyst of Zero Day. And then
there were a lot of catalysts of Zero Day, apparently.
Yeah, but this was, they said, like, the whole thing, this comes up...
Tis but one domino in a long line.
Yeah, this is why...
I'm just poking on the fact that you've said, like, 3 to 4 things were the catalyst of Zero Day throughout this review.
No, I never said it was catalyst. I said other things happened on Zero Day.
No, you referred to Laser, and now these
regardless of which.
Yes.
It's perfectly normal.
Emu had a surgery, which actually brings into the Ghost Ex-Aid movie, because that movie's canon to the Ex-Aid storyline.
Okay, I didn't watch it, but...
Oh, no. You don't have to, but it sets up the actual backstory of what happened.
It's an extra story that you don't technically need to watch, but
it's
canon and what?
It is still the best Rider movie that we've ever had. Crossover movie that we've had. We get our second level 50 in this episode with Brave Fantasy Gamer.
I did love this form. Sorry, I do adore this form.
It is a great looking form. Level 50.
Yeah.
I wish it changed more of the teal.
Yeah. You know what's a really good looking one? I think it's his level 100 form.
We'll talk about that one later.
Yeah, the all white version of this.
It's a great looking one.
Again, from a story perspective, I think Tattle Fantasy works. I don't like how it looks.
I would have just liked it if it changed the rest of it. And then episode 20, Taiga ends up getting it because it really weighs on Hero the first couple times that he ends up using Tattle Fantasy. And So in episode 20, we get Snipe Simulation Gamer.
Mm-hmm. Battleship.
Yeah. You sunk my battleship.
With your lots
This
of
is
guns.
a hot mess.
I think it's just too big.
It is. It also is. That's a minor.
It's a little too haphazard.
They
designed the accessories before putting them on him.
It's the hands.
It's the whole thing.
It's the whole thing. I was gonna say it's a little bit too out of his theme.
No, his whole thing is guns.
His whole thing is marksman.
No, it's not. His whole thing is legitimately just guns.
But what's his name?
Snipe. That doesn't mean anything. Brave doesn't really mean anything either.
It's referring to the fantasy aspect, which they stick with for a while, except for
level 3.
Yeah, but no one follows the theme in level 3 and 4 really. But it just he always when he fights especially mainly maybe the early episodes, every shot hits. And
his first one. His second one was just Gatling guns. This one is just big cannons.
Yeah.
I do love a big cannon. Anyway.
That is quite literally what he said.
Yes. It was 21. First time that Asuna and Emu end up meeting Dan Masamune.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a little bit of Masamune's personality in this one. Where he doesn't...
Yeah, evil.
Yeah, where he doesn't really view people. He views sales and products.
He views sales, he views products, and he views the world as something that he can control.
Yeah, evil. I'm pretty sure Jacob summed it up.
And then we'll skip ahead a little bit.
He's a bad man.
Dan Kuroto has gone fully God mode in his own head in this episode, where he ends up coming back.
He yells the phrase "I am a god" multiple times.
Yes.
To the point where I thought I might have been watching Death Note.
And he can't really be killed.
Appreciate that.
And I do. They do set up this whole thing earlier where he does a lot of like weird backbends in this show.
He does more weird poses than JoJo.
He does go full Dio. Like part way through, like when he ends up infecting himself with a Bugster,
yeah,
and ends up getting out, like he has like his shirt off, he just bends back and looks over his shoulder.
He goes full Easter feast because he is hamming the hell out of this thing.
I love it. I love it so much. But they end up figuring out, thanks to notes that Kiryu left behind on his computer, that they could make a vaccine to the Bugster virus, or rather, a way to rewrite it. So
we're getting back into realism. Let's be careful what we say next.
I'm looking at you mostly for this.
Yeah.
We get Emu ends up more or less making a new Gashat using his own Bugster virus, and makes level 99.
That he does. Once again, I like how it was used. I hate how it looks.
It looks atrocious.
Awful.
It's atrocious.
It looks
I
dumb.
understand that. I think the concept behind it is, I guess it's the whole idea of like Mario eating the mushroom and he grows big. Because this looks like level 1, but you gave the mushroom from Mario.
Yeah.
I get that idea if that's what they were going for. If that wasn't what they were going for, then you fucked up a lot. But it looks so fucking atrocious.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. Level 99 is terrible.
You know all the forms that we have in other Kamen Riders where it's just a mech? Let's do that, but let's have the Kamen Rider's head poke out the top for no fucking reason.
I think that's something that kills it. The head.
You know, I don't think so. I think it was just it's a complete package.
It's
It's not one singular issue. This is a sum of all of its
I think
parts.
the thing that does it, I'm not going to say helping it, but actually making the fact that this is level 99 now, is the fact that he can jump out of it and still be level 99. It just looks like level 2.
There was
That's
one
stupid.
fight scene. No, I actually really liked how that was used. Where he's able to jump out of it and the mech part will still keep fighting and then he'll do some other stuff. They're able to do some pretty creative stuff with action from him. I just wish they did it a little more.
Yeah.
Let's
a better
Or a
designer.
lot more.
They need a better designer.
Let's go, because now we're into the third arc of the show with Kamen Rider
Which
Chronicle.
happened in an episode I did not expect.
Oh, yeah.
Did not expect this to happen in the team-up episode.
With Kamen Rider Chronicle now being complete because all the data has been given, and Peridot and the others having access to Kamen Rider Chronicle, and now we have a new CEO. The other one was just a stand-in. To be fair, they usually do have transitional periods.
That's what happened with. That's what happened with Nintendo.
No, I just have the image in my head of this guy walking out. He's not the CEO. I am.
But in this case,
I know it's real. It's just
it's more due to the Buckster's power that ends up taking over. With Lovelyka taking over.
This new guy
is a ham.
Is
a ham and a half. But Kamen Rider Chronicles, the Kamen Rider Chronicles now out there to the masses.
So it is.
Honestly, I didn't get why, and even while watching it for the second time, Graphite's back because now it's just
why not?
The Chronicles, you have bosses.
Yep.
So you had to beat all the bosses to get to the final boss.
Yep.
Hold on. Question.
Yes.
Which one's Chronicle? Because I keep getting them mixed up.
Chronicle is the actual game.
That's
okay.
Chronos.
Chronicle is not a person.
Sorry, you said Kamen Rider Chronicle at one point. I got confused.
That's what it's called. It's called Kamen Rider Chronicle.
Okay. Sorry.
Everyone is a Kamen Rider. Here is the chronicle of their stories.
Sorry. Like I said, I didn't jump around, especially in the later episodes.
In this one, we end up getting the first time that Lovelyka ends up going into CR, which happens almost immediately.
He makes himself right at home.
Yeah, I didn't get why Asuna's I'm also a Buckster and all this other stuff. But it was actually Lovelyka's powers working on her. So that's why she's so forthcoming with all the information about her.
Yep.
I didn't get it, but upon reflect and actually watching it again, I loved it because it's minor. It doesn't exactly explain what his powers are, but it shows enough of it to know that there's an issue here.
I thought it worked.
Yeah, it works incredibly well. And Poppy ends up going over to the other side to more or less become the hostess of the game.
Yeah, they're face of the company, if you will.
Yeah. I love this so much. I think it's very... this arc, I'm not the biggest fan of this arc. I think this arc is actually my least favorite of the show proper.
Okay.
But it does set up...
For me, this is where the show started to get good. I mean, I liked... The first two arcs I thought were okay. It wasn't until after episode 25 that I really started to get invested. With ride players. With everything.
Yeah. Ride players, Kamen Rider Chronicle actually going out to the public. We also do have to talk about Kamen Rider Poppy because she shows up for the first time in episode 26. The stats in Kamen Rider are just nothing.
Are you talking about the wiki or the...
Yeah, the wiki. The wiki stats are just nothing because apparently Kamen Rider Poppy is stronger than Gaim's final form. It's stupid.
According to whom?
According to whoever wrote this, I guess.
Apparently, Toei does put out a stats thing, but they're just BS.
Now,
it's power levels.
Now, when I said this was one of my favorite episodes, I might not have been talking about this one in particular, but there was a Kamen Rider Poppy episode that was one of my favorites. I don't know if it was this one in particular.
Let's talk about her suit really quickly.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It literally looks just like a
Kamen
Rider version of her.
We don't have a lot of female Kamen Rider suits to begin with, and it's fine.
I think it works for, especially with it being Tokimeki Rice's, which is her game. So I think it works for what we got.
Yeah.
Also, I think she has a male suit actor.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Happens.
Wouldn't be the first time either.
Also, the players are now out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the riders, they give special weapons to the players to help beat the Bucksters.
Really wish these were the minions from the beginning of the show.
I don't think they would work as well as the minions.
I just know they look better as all.
I do love the fact that they're all based on, or rather, Mighty Action Axe. Just they have that base one, and they're just brown.
They kind of reminded me of Acorn from Gaim.
Yes, it's because of the brown.
Yeah. It was that, but with without the Acorn pauldrons.
Okay, I was going to say Acorn or Pinecone. No,
Pinecone had the spear and was black.
But Pinecone also got turned into a minion late.
Well, the first one did.
In episode 27, we get finally introduced to Lovelyka's actual Buckster form.
It's okay.
It exists.
It's good.
Nico also.
I think for this character, it's a fitting form.
Yeah, Nico also ends up getting her own ride player thing.
Dang it,
all
Nico.
Is just
Nico sucks.
I have the biggest problem with
Nico's name may as well have been MacGuffin. The amount of times she gets infected with Bugster virus, I think it's 3.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire show, she gets infected, and she always
ends up getting used as a plot device because of the fact that they end up doing it on purpose to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does raise a question. And a virus that does not produce antibodies once you have it.
But yeah, Poppy finally ends up breaking free of her mind control. A couple episodes after.
That's the episode I was referring to.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
It's just so well done. Everything about it, from the acting to the way the story was handled, because the way that Poppy and Emu, their relationship, and the way that it's been developing, and the way she's bonded with everyone from CR all throughout the past 6 or however many episodes it was.
Yeah.
And to see her transform, and to see her in part be responsible for the deaths of so many people, because it's something that was outside of her control, that she was brainwashed by what's his name, Lovlika. And the way that Emu was able to bring her back by making her smile and making her remember who she is.
Yeah.
I thought it was so well done.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic episode.
It's very well done. Let's talk about episode 29. I think this is one of my favorite episodes just in the show because of just how much they put Emu through in this episode. We get, the episode before, Peridot got his, I'm not going to say DNA because I'm not really sure exactly how that works for the Bugsters, but he basically got a little bit rewritten by getting hit by Emu's finisher.
Right.
And which gives him a little bit of Emu's DNA, which makes sense with their connection. We also get his backstory is about exactly where he came from 16 years ago after Emu got into an accident. After Dan Kuroto infects him with the original Bugster virus. So we get Peridot's actual backstory.
Yep.
And this is the part where they start taking over, or rather Peridot starts taking over Emu occasionally. And the fact that he is the other half in
the end of the episode where they rescue Poppy is the first time we see Peridot possess him.
Yeah.
We ain't about to let you end on a happy note.
No. And then at the beginning of the next episode, she goes over to shake it like Emu, she slaps the shit out of her.
That happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Just not something I was expecting.
No.
I appreciate that they went there though.
Yeah.
He lays her out.
He really
just
does.
Right across the face, and she's on the ground like, dang.
And Nico's like, the fuck?
Parado is not messing around.
Yeah. And so Emu ends up transforming into level 50.
Yep.
And then in the next episode, we finally end up getting level 99 since Peridot can now use the gamer driver, which he couldn't because he had no human DNA.
Right.
I want to talk about this form. I want to talk about this form.
Oh, I love this form.
I love this form.
Yeah, it's okay.
The hair is a bit much, but I from the neck down, it's.
I think the hair works because because of the show.
Yeah.
Because of the show, and
it's
there is a precedent for it.
No, I'm not saying I don't understand it. It's just that's subjective. But from the neck down, it's just perfect.
The blue and red together just works so incredibly well, especially that
and
shade.
the gold
lining it. Yeah.
Shut up.
And then in episode 30, I love when they had to figure out some way to create another vaccine. So Poppy ends up going in to see if she can find a special someone. And she ends up finding a Bugster just sitting on a crate after being chased around by some of the other minions.
Yeah.
And there's just one sitting on a crate being sad.
Aww.
And who does it turn out to be but Dan Kuroto? Because he backed up a save.
Yep. Which is smart.
So now he is a Bugster version of himself. And he also has a level 0 form. Because he's more or less broken right now. He has white lines now instead of just all purple and black.
Mm-hmm.
I like the white. It just makes everything stand out.
It looks different enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But at first glance, it's kind of like, nothing wrong.
It's the same. I just like it because I like the white, purple, and black being together now. But yeah, I also love that when he comes back and he's like in CR at the beginning of the next episode, and he just turns around. There's a close up of his face, just that smile, being a complete and utter bastard man, even more so than usual, saying that he is now Shindig, and he's now a Buckster, but they can punish him wherever by just putting him in the Buckster thing, and then putting him in he and Poppy is sharing a space. I just love him from here on out. Is my favorite. Actually, he became everybody's favorite. They made like 4 figures of him. The dude got popular after this episode.
Popular?
Yep.
Gonna be popular.
But yeah, so that episode, I just love it. He's just such a bastard. He's such a bastard. But his ability now is that, one, Peridot can't take over Emily anymore when he's around. Because of the way that Dan's, like, he has like a field of influence.
Right.
And if he grabs you, your level starts going down.
He takes your soul level.
Yeah. He pretty much does it to take your level down. And
I call hacks.
I want to talk about episode 31 solely because of that fight. After Poppy ends up convincing Dan, like, look, you're going to have to help out. You can't just sit here and not do anything. So...
real narcissism, like, watch me.
And then she's like, okay, and just put him in the Buckster ride. Like, you don't get out unless you do this. We also end up figuring out that in between the
living space.
last 2 episodes, he's now has 99 lives.
Yes.
I love, what is it? He game overs and then comes out of a tube that says continue. And he pops out and he goes like, whoop! And then like another one, he just poses as he's coming out of the thing. It's like, you can't beat me unless you kill me forever! God, he's a bastard.
Dun, Kuroto's on the wall.
Yeah. But I want to talk about episode 31 just really quickly.
Take
because
one down, ham it around.
99 bills still on the wall. But yeah, episode 31, I just want to talk about this really quickly because of the fight with the 2 versions, with level 0 and level 99, but in the level 2 form. Because they're fighting against Peridot, and it basically turns into a fight from Kabuto because they get those speed up tokens, and everything just starts happening really quickly. And then the double finisher where they just combo him to death. I loved it.
Ultra combo.
I just love,
or my favorite, super combo finish.
Yeah, with the I just love the cinematography that they do sometimes in this show, and something like that. Yeah. It just works.
So they say.
I think that's the thing that ends up helping this more often than not. Let's talk about episode 32. With the introduction of Kamen Rider Cronus. Because Dan Masamune is now out of jail.
Don't you mean Kamen Rider Dio?
No. Dan Masamune is now out of jail because pretty much everything that he took the blame for what his son did initially with all the 0 day stuff, he is, now the Ministry of Health and everybody knows that.
Oh, it was the other guy. You're free to go. That was a mistake.
That was an extreme mistake. Because he comes back in and takes over the company. The Lovdika basically says no. And so all of the writers and, the Bucksters are out there fighting Graphite, level 50, blah, blah, what have you. And Dan made another dual Gashat for Hero and Taika. And so they both have their own forms now. And of course, Emma has level 99. And then here comes a different kind of level X. The Kamen Rider
level XO.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Zenma. Genma Zombie Action Gamer level.
All right.
XL.
So level XXX.
Yeah, which is this one with a gamer driver now. But
it's different because the belt's different.
It's different because name. But yeah, I love the entrance of this villain.
Oh yeah.
He comes in, goes full monologue. By the way, the actor that they got to play, he's also a singer. But
is he?
Yeah, the actor. I think he actually sings one of the songs in the movie.
Oh, cool.
But the actor that they got to play, Dan Masamune, has so much gravitas behind him.
Lots of energy.
Yeah, he has just like that sinister ability to just come in and immediately take over any scene that he's
I'm still trying to figure out where my Kamen Rider Dio reference is being inaccurate. Because so far it's accurate.
Oh, so you're approaching me?
But yeah, he turns into Kamen Rider Cronus like the most badass way because it happens in front of a clock. And the thing just counts down.
Yep.
Until he actually does it. Let's talk about this suit really quickly.
And then Kamen Rider Zio said, do that all the time.
Let's talk about this suit.
I love this suit. I do like this suit.
I like it.
I like it. Not a big fan of the spikes.
I approve.
I approve.
And you know how I feel about big pauldrons.
Yeah, I don't.
But yet you watched all of Zio.
I never said that I didn't have a problem with that too.
You keep
big pauldrons are still big pauldrons, regardless of context.
I will take this any day of the week over Zio.
And I just we can call him Kamen Rider Dio, I guess, but when he pauses, and when the first time when he goes, shh.
Oh god, no. Dio is ham villain. Yeah. He's fucking scary.
He's terrifying when he comes.
He's a scary ham. He's a ham with a scary face drawn on it.
He's the fourth brother. But yeah, he just goes and like it's just silent. And then he just goes around and starts beating up people. Yep. And he goes over to Lovelyka and says, "What is Lovelyka's game?" I'm gonna look.
It's a romance.
Tokimeki Crisis. So that who he is the buster for, and Cronus goes over to him and says, "Tokimeki Crisis is now canceled." And his rider kick when he follows the hand of the clock and just breaks his neck pretty much, and then restarts time, and Lovelyka just dies. And Grafhead's like, so what? I can bring him back whenever. And he can't. The way I'm viewing this, because they basically said if you're killed in that time, then you can't come back at all. Yep. I mostly view it as a corrupted game data that he ends up calling.
That save file's corrupted, you're screwed.
Yeah. He basically just is a corrupt in the game file. And we see this look on Peridot's...
PS4 got bricked.
We see this look on Peridot's face where you actually see some fear come over him because you can't do anything.
Oh dear.
I love that. It's so strong as an introduction to this villain. It's like, I'm just going to come in and kill you. Enjoy. And they don't.
Well, you did.
Oh, I did.
That's all that matters.
I did indubitably.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. And so over the next couple of episodes, with him coming in, and Hiro ends up betraying CR because Dan Masamune said that he has...
I've got your girlfriend's data.
Yeah.
Do you want her back?
Here, just a taste of it. And
she just stands there, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Pretty much, she ends up saying the last line that she has, saying, I want you to become the best doctor in the world. So Hiro thinks that he doesn't have a choice because a lot of Hiro's things, even though he comes off as very standoffish, a lot of his stuff is guilt. Him and Taiga have a lot of the same parallels on their journey throughout this show. I love the guilt. And it really is a show. I love the guilt. The guilt's amazing. And then, in the next episode after that, we get to see a flash of a new writer. Or rather, a person. And we see Laser Turbo Level 0. Which works a little bit differently than Dan's Level 0 because it's more of a cleaner. Like, it's a purifier. Let's talk about this form.
What the...
Everything from the neck down, okay. The head is too big.
No shit.
The head is the problem.
Little distracting.
It's so large. And when he comes out, he moves his head sort of like this. And I
remember when this was airing and I saw a picture of that online. I thought someone photoshopped his head onto Ex-Aid to make it to see what he would look like as an actual writer. And then I found out it was real, and I went, no.
Oh no!
But the way they end up doing it, like the way we end up finding out one of his ability is that they find out that the name of the big bad final boss is Game God, and Graphite ends up putting the virus into his body, which he goes a little bit out of control. Like he starts breaking walls and stuff, but like Peridot's in the forefront. I love the fact that happens in the background, like him just going crazy. And so they, to stop the pause ability, they put the virus into the bug visor that Genmu wears, because at some point we also found out that he also injected himself with the game virus a long time ago. But yeah, so Laser Turbo ends up purifying it. So he's on the side of Dan Masamune for the moment until he and Imu have a big, long, heart-to-heart conversation of beating the shit out of each other on a beach.
I did love that scene.
It was a great scene. And we found out that, at least later on, that Kiri whispered something into his ear. Okay, wonder what that was. It can't be anything. It's everything. But yeah, also like the fact that he has some other forms, which is something that he really didn't get, like in terms of like level 3 and stuff. But he has like Proto Sharkiri Sports and Project Combat. It still doesn't look good because his head is so big.
I mean, the big bulky accessories don't help either.
No, I think it's he looks,
all the proportions are off.
It looks super sectioned. It's like, this is too big, this is too big, this is too big.
Like I said, it looks like it was Photoshop.
Yeah, so
it was all too big, it would even out.
Maybe.
If you'd put it on his level 3 form, it would have looked fine.
Yeah, at the end of this episode, we end up getting a preview of Hyper Muteki.
Yep.
And a preview of Tele Legacy. Let's talk about Perfect Invincible Gamer and how much
brokenness.
That's kind of the point.
I know it's the point.
It's the invincibility star.
It's the power star.
Yeah, but once again, it's the same thing. You wrote yourself into a corner in terms of your power scaling. You've given him an invincible form. What is there to worry about?
Why would you literally use anything else?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about a lot of things in this show.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like, this is our super new powerful form. Why are you still using
level 2? At least when they first use it, like when everybody else tries to use it, they can only hold it for 10 seconds.
Yes, because the first person we see try to use it is Kuroto.
Yeah.
And he's only able to hold it for 10 seconds.
Yeah. When they all go and try to beat Kronos in that flower field. And it doesn't work. So
great scene.
Yeah, they only use it for 10 seconds until Emma ends up getting it, and actually, like, it breaks out of the level 99
because he wasn't able to use it at first.
No, he wasn't. It was,
and the only way he's able to use it is by tricking Parado to possess him again.
Yeah,
they fuse, and that's how he's able to get the extra boost that he needs in order to use it.
Yeah,
which I guess is their way of writing in. They need both of them in order for it to work.
Yeah, so
he can't just use it every time.
It's one of those things that
Parado isn't exactly
happy about that.
Yes.
He is not a happy person. Oh well.
It looks good.
Let's talk about the form. I love this form so much.
Once again, I like how it's used. I don't like how it looks.
What about?
I don't hate how it looks, but there are some. I have notes.
What are they?
Dreads. Why?
Because why not?
But why?
I think it looks amazing because of the dreads.
It's a choice. It's definitely a statement.
Like 800 for.
He has a lot of tabs.
I was like, seriously.
I love it. I just think it looks so cool. The only thing, I'm not a big fan of the stars on the shoulders.
I was about to point those out. It is quite pointy everywhere.
That's a lot of stuff in this show.
Like, I think I'm fine with
a lot of Ex-Aid's forms and other riders as well. They're very sharp.
I'm fine with it everywhere else. I just think it makes these hard to move.
I would just say if you took those two and just shortened them to maybe more match the ones that are going to the sides, it would look better. But overall, good color scheme. I like the fact it's gold and a bit of orange, and there's some pink in there and some light blue, which I don't know what that's from.
His main form.
But I definitely get the aesthetic. What it does to the belt though is
it's a lot. It's a lot here. It's a lot in the.
It's a lot everywhere. So
There's a lot of
I think it
nostalgia.
balances out.
But I just love the fact
Again, I think it works better when you see it in motion.
I just love
Also true.
when he first transforms into it and does all the spins.
Oh yeah, the hair is whipping all over the
I
place.
He whipped his
love
hair back and forth.
He's the first Kamen Rider to have it, because Snipe has like the little
Emo.
has the emo fringe.
Yeah.
But this is the first Kamen Rider to
Who
have
has
a
locks.
mane.
Yeah.
He has a mane
Flowing locks.
of hair.
Of flowing glorious locks, L'Oreal, because he's worth it. I just love it. I love it so much. It's so maybe it's Maybelline. I just love it because it's so extra. Like the dreads are so unnecessarily extra, but I think without it, the suit would.
You
not work.
say that they're extra,
I
but
think they would work just fine.
I
he
don't.
uses them in combat.
Yeah,
though.
he uses to grab people. He whips his hair.
and Hyper used the
tassels.
The tassels in combat,
But those
Didn't
look
make it,
stupid.
Did,
They were unnecessary. Here,
and dreads aren't unnecessary.
at least they're just hair instead of fringe.
No, these are no. It is an excuse to be a L'Oreal commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
What
unnecessary.
else do you need?
It's unnecessary.
Because he's worth it.
I mean, maybe he's more of a Garnier guy.
Yeah, maybe he's more herbal essences.
Maybe
but
he's Maybelline. Who the fuck knows?
Look, he might be herbal essences, but we don't hear him going, yes! Yeah! Anyway, I love this one.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just think that...
The point being, whacking somebody with tassels is far less cool than grabbing someone with your hair, jumping into the air, doing a somersault, whipping them and slamming them down into the ground.
Yeah, just looks cool. I do love how Kronos initially
Like
underestimates...
your Medusa from Inhumans if you took up pro wrestling.
Or
I was
the,
going to say, he's not Bayonetta. He needs to chill
Or
out the hair.
Koichi's girlfriend from part 4.
Eh.
But, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because she's such a memorable character.
She was insane. She was in a game.
Everyone was.
Anyway, I love how Kronos is like, it's only gonna last for 10 seconds. Plot twist.
Not for him.
It doesn't. And he just beats the shit out of Kronos the first time they fight. And pretty much every time they fight after.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, no. And he has super
Pretty much just no.
He has super speed. And he can't take damage. He's impervious. Like, he can get knocked away, but he really can't take damage, like, proper. I love it.
He's got a Fist of the North Star Rider kick. You don't feel the effects until afterwards.
Yeah. Nani? And then Kronos just starts flying up in the air.
I love that so much! I love that
hits.
so much. It was great.
And Kronos is like, haha, I guess it didn't do that.
Okay, I was wrong. Oh God. Oh, my body. Oh,
Let's
my
just
most
take a
of me.
pause. Oh, I love it.
Just the idea of hair on a suit. We like obliterated Miss America for that. Don't put a wig on a suit.
Because it was just a very cheap synthetic looking wig.
I was going to say, that was someone took a Party City wig that they got for $10 in the discount bin
But
and put it on top of a silly looking costume.
It's just something that's such a organic material with something that's supposed to be
The
inorganic.
hair doesn't look organic, though.
Yeah, it's not supposed to.
And no,
it looks-
I'm saying in those shots, it looks more organic than it actually is. Like, I can see somebody with that hairstyle.
I know people with that hairstyle. But the thing is, in this case, it's not supposed to look really organic. It's just a part of the suit.
It looks like a video game.
Yeah.
See, to me, it doesn't look like part of
It's
the
like, it. You know what it's supposed to symbolize? The sparkles coming off of the star. Yeah.
I would agree with you on that
Whack.
if he didn't actually sparkle already.
But he doesn't always sparkle. He has to sparkle always. So they gave him the hair.
He kind of always sparkles.
Anyway, episode 37, we get Legacy Gamer.
Yep.
See this suit. Love this suit.
Level 100 Tattle Legacy.
I think it just works more than the deep red that the original one did. It goes more with the teal.
I think it's because of the fact that we also have white in other places on this. In terms of Tattle Fantasy, which didn't have that. So yeah, I love the way the Tattle Legacy looks. It looks like a paladin. It looks like... Have you played Final Fantasy 4?
No.
Well, yeah, Cecil is a Dark Knight at the beginning, and then he turns into a paladin later on.
Yes.
I'm just so proud of you for not even trying to ask me.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
you know better.
Also, this is our like only level 100 because
that's the one with Barth, isn't it?
Barth is 5.
Barth's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, one of them was in Kingdom Hearts.
But yeah, I love this. I love Title Legacy.
Is Muteki considered level 100 or is he just level infinity?
Pretty much level infinity.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's a little kid on the playground. Oh yeah, well I'm level infinity. You can't beat me now.
And what you're accurate. That's this form.
Everything proof shield.
I took the Mario Star. You can't hit me. That doesn't last forever. It does with me.
And then in the next episode, Hero finally gets over.
Except he's the good guy, so we're happy it happens to him.
Yeah. And then the next episode, Hero finally gets over himself.
As opposed to
Hero finally gets over what?
Himself.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, like, goes back to CR. Is like, I can't bring her back.
Okay, so I learned death is permanent, and as a doctor, I feel like that's a good thing.
Well, no, it wasn't permanent, but it's like there's really no way to.
So I learned that people die if they are killed.
I know I've been a doctor for a while, but I've just.
But I just found this, guys.
Breaking news!
Breaking news! If you die, you're dead. Did you know this? Wow!
And there's some nurse who like tries to talk to him, like, no, just let him. Just let him have
But
it. Just let him.
I think
he'll tire himself out.
It does a lot for his character.
No. From an actual story perspective, it does do a lot. It's just the way you worded it. It's hysterical.
But let's talk about episode 39.
Death is forever.
I think the biggest beatdown of this any like writer show has ever really brought on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the fight between Emu and Peridot.
Mm-hmm.
After Peridot has more or less offlined a lot of people during the last arc.
Yep.
And
I'm gonna call that to anybody who dies now. They're offline.
well, pretty much how it works in this show.
I know.
I think the thing that really ends up helping it here is the fact that a lot of the stuff that
they're
happens
not dead. They're just offline.
A lot of stuff that happens in the background.
It's just resting
Forever.
People, they constantly play this game, even though there are actual news things out there, like all the big screens they have going around the city, showing that if you play this game and you lose, you're out.
You're gone forever.
You're pretty much gone. And we have like those people who are just wanting to fight.
It's like
this was from Scanners. Basically that.
We have those people who are just so willing to fight. Like the mother who's fighting for her son.
Yeah.
Or Hero's dad, who we haven't really talked about, but I love him. Hero's dad, who's like fighting to get Saki back. And we have all these, like the people who lost their friends and stuff. Like they're willing to sacrifice themselves. Yep. But on the other end of that spectrum, we have those people who are still playing this game. Even though they know what could happen. They're just like, but the big company has all of our data. And eventually we'll all be brought back.
Really? People trying to discredit our experts in the midst of a pandemic? That's just...
I was thinking like...
Wasn't me this time.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't stop thinking about it while watching this.
This show...
And it infuriates me to no end.
This show predicted the future 3 years before it happened.
Biden says he's going to keep Dr. Fauci on, by the way.
Good. But yeah, let's talk about episode 39. One, because...
What's that? Someone who knows what they're doing?
We get a preview of the true ending movie. Because the main person, the main bad guy from that,
because the ending of the show is not the real ending. Just a joke.
And this is also the fight where Peridot has to learn the consequences of his actions.
The scene that follows in episode 40,
which one is the scene that you like sat me down to show me the fight against Peridot? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Episode 39, they're fighting.
He tries to eat.
Yeah, where like. Everybody's like, if you kill Peridot, you can't transform anymore.
Yep.
So Emma's just like, yeah,
I don't care.
And then he goes up to like, I guess, abandoned like pool at the top of a building or something. And
I just remember it was on a roof.
Penthouse apartment.
Yeah, I think it was like a penthouse apartment pool. And then you had like Kuroto and Poppy up there just yelling at him not to do it. But
no, stop, come back.
They're down there fighting, and the thing that makes this scene, I think, just stand out in everybody's mind is when they fight and Peridot tries to fade away.
He tries to teleport away,
and Emu says no, and just beats the shit. Like he does his finisher, and you hear like Peridot just screaming because he doesn't want to die. This like has that whole build up From the first time that Peridot actively witnessed death from somebody that he actually really cared about was Lovelica. So when that happened to him, like, you saw him shaking in that one, and it happens a couple times over the next couple episodes as well. And like when Emu was when he's about to be killed by Kronos at one point, and by Hero, like Emu's always there to help him, but this time it's actually Emu beating him.
But so this motherfucker grabbed me during mid-teleportation. That's against the rules. And Emu goes, don't care.
He just says,
I can't hear you over the sound of me winning.
My dreadlock says, I don't play by the rules.
And then that, like,
that's right. That
when Emu does the finisher, and Peridot, like, tries to punch it, but you get, like, there's just so much futility in that. And the cinematography in this episode, when Peridot is, like, slowly falling into the pool, oh my god. I love that. I thought it was just amazing. And then, like, he's, like, slowly fading away, and Emu just sticks his hand, like, in his chest. And,
no. That's... You haven't heard that song?
What do you think?
I was mainly talking to Marcus. I spend way too much time on TikTok.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the scene where, like, after Peridot gets dehinged after game overing, and, like, he's just pixelating. And Emu just sticks his hand in his chest and just crushes it. And I'm sitting here like, this just happened. And then the pool scene of him falling in the water, which echoes like what happened to Emu when Peridot was more or less created, because Emu got into an accident in the rain, like somebody hit him with a car when he was about to cross the street. It was just, oh god.
Always look both ways.
He was sick at the time. He just got the Buckster virus when that happened.
Episode 40.
Let's talk about episode 40.
Ooh boy.
When Peridot brought back.
This might have been my favorite episode.
I don't blame you.
This episode, when I talking about this show getting to levels of emotional depth I didn't expect, the actors really, really shine in this episode.
And you can tell they definitely got better. Because Emu at the beginning was not that great. But as the show went along, he became a lot better.
Everyone really digs in and is able to pull out a very emotional performance. The way Peridot is so distraught when he is pleading with Emu on the hospital roof.
Yes!
And he is just this whole show, Peridot has just been playful. I want to play with you. Let's play. I'm going to kill these people. He's been so devious.
Yeah.
And he's always been smirking. And to see him just break the way he did. And the way I didn't think I didn't know that actor could do that the way he's been playing the character for so long. And then to see him pull this out, it didn't feel like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, even Emu being so cold and so emotionless in the scene, it really worked.
Yeah.
And just to see him completely break, and he's like, I just wanted to play with you.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. It's like I didn't understand consequences at the time. And because, like, he's a bugster.
Yeah.
The way that the bug, like, they're not people. The way they are, they have programming. His programming is, I want to play games. Okay, this seems to be the way to get Emu to play with me, so I'm going to do this. He was just following his programming, but now that he's, we're dealing with things like AI becoming sentient here, and it's handled, I think, really well when he's able to recognize the consequences of his actions. Yeah. And it's done so well. Oh, this is easily my favorite episode.
And then, like, compounding it into that fight that they end up having with Kronos, like the actual tag team.
Oh, man. The fight with Kronos, it's not just the fight with Kronos, it's the end of the fight with Kronos.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the fight, though. Just a little bit. Simply because...
Okay.
One, the two of them fighting together was just amazing.
Was a fantastic fight scene. It was... I have problems with the action in this show. This is... The cuts can be a little too quick. The camera can be a little too shaky. I think the editing and the way the camera was held in this scene, I think, was pretty well done. Yeah. And the tag team aspect of it all... Especially I said it before, I'll say it again, we get rider kicks.
We get
one of the things I can talk, I swear. One of the things that I don't like that Kamen Rider has distanced itself from so much is the rider kick. I just think it's a cool move. I don't like that we see it so little and that we really only seem to get it once, and they make them so elaborate that they're so expensive to do. And, they make it a jumping sidekick. We add our particle effects on, but it's still just a jumping sidekick. It's nothing you need to embellish but so much with, added effects. And we get a double rider kick, and we get the fist bump right as they do it. And
you just see Gimlo in the background.
It's not just that, but when they fist bump, it's his hit.
I mean, Kronos, yeah.
Yeah, it's his fist bump hit on Kronos. The hit marker appears on Kronos, and then he blows up.
I think...
And it was fantastic.
One of my favorite moments is like when Peridot brings out his blade gun. And he fires it, and Kronos pauses, but Imu just hits him a whole bunch into every hit of Peridot's gun, even with them being pauses. So you're like, I love the action direction that when they go for it, they just do it. Yep. They're just like, fuck it, we're doing it, we're making it cool, everything's gonna look cool, double fist bump, hit, explosion. Mm-hmm. And then that also ends up destroying his
It destroys his driver.
I have nothing to add. I really
destroys his driver, resulting in so Kronos is that kind of gamer.
He's a cheater.
Not a cheater. He is the bratty son of a gun who, if you beat him right before you get to that winner screen, he will stand up and reset the console.
Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what he did.
And that's what he did in life. He reset life.
He reset it by however many days before Hyper Muteki got done.
And I'm not entirely sure on how that works, because they destroy the driver, and I guess through sheer force of willpower, he's just able to bring it back, which, I mean, okay.
With the way that, we've seen what Imu can do with his own inherent
taking the invincibility and making it innumerable.
Dan Masamune also has one of the original Black viruses in it, so I guess through force of will and the fact that he had the gadget even though it was broken, he reset everything to before Hyper Muteki got finished. Yep. And so he ran away afterwards. But in the next episode, he tries to do it again, and Dan Kuroto ends up spending a whole bunch of he works himself to death several times to remake Hyper Muteki faster. Yeah. And he remakes it along with a whole bunch of... He makes a slight addition to it by giving everybody a save state. Mm-hmm. So when Dan Masamune tries it again, everybody's still saved with all of their stuff. Mm-hmm. And they keep all their stuff, and then off screen, you hear hypercritical fit, and he just gets kicked in the face by Hyper Muteki. I thought that was just so good. It's you're not getting away with this. R.I.P. in deaths. But also in episode 41, we get the introduction to Game Deus, the final boss. Johnny Makishima, who is from the True Ending movie, which we'll be talking about at some point during this month. And this is also the last appearance of Graphite. Pretty much getting... And
by the way, when he says during this month, he does not... We are still taking that time off for Christmas and New Year's.
And we, this is the last appearance for Graphite, which basically ends up completing both Taiga's and Hiro's stories. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love it.
God, this show is exhausting me.
It has there's just a lot.
Yeah,
but it's all done well.
I'm not saying it's not. And it's also so much shorter.
Yeah,
I mean 5 episodes shorter compared to the usual 50, but still,
it's they pack a lot. So because no episode in this show is wasted.
This show's all killer, no filler.
Yeah. So
I like that phrase. Never heard it.
Game Days comes in. They end up making the Dr. Mighty XX Gashat, which is the last one.
Sorry.
Set up straight.
I'm on drugs.
Well, stop it. They're bad for you.
No, it's melatonin.
Winners don't use drugs.
It's just melatonin.
Winners don't use melatonin. They use caffeine.
I haven't had any today.
But
I haven't had anything today.
In these last couple of episodes...
That's your fault.
Speaking of which, I love how they end up making the Dr. XX, because you talked earlier about the body not creating enough antibodies.
He said that somebody got the virus 3 times. I just thought it was an interesting concept of a virus that your body doesn't make antibodies for it, so you don't get it again.
COVID does that.
Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
People have gotten COVID twice.
But in this case, it was Nico.
That was my low-key political thing.
Yeah. Nico.
That's not political. That's just science.
That's just fact at this point.
Which has become political.
Nico got 3 different versions of the Bugstar virus as the show went along. She got her first one, her second one, the last one. She got the Game Days virus first. She was actually patient 0 for that before they ended spreading it to everybody. But I love how they actually make the vaccine.
If only she wore a mask.
It didn't help.
There it is.
Because they just kept like injecting her with it directly. And also, I love how they end up getting the Dr. Mighty Double X because it's Kiria and Dan Kuroto. And Kiria just constantly ends up infecting him with the virus. Keeps wasting his lives to try to make an antibody, which he does with 4 lives left. He went down from like 75 to 4.
It's like me trying to play a Donkey Kong game. Those games are hard.
Yeah.
But they end up beating Game Days. And then who comes in but Dan Masamune to take in his virus to make sure that his company doesn't go under, more or less. Also, in the next episode, after they finally actually beat the game, technically, Taiga ends up getting the second version of Kamen Rider Cronus, which is used with the gamer driver.
Yep.
Not sure how I felt about that. It makes sense, but it's like you had to inject yourself with every single Bugstar virus at the same time.
I mean, viruses are microscopic. Shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
Let's talk about episode 44. The fact that Bill just comes in this episode thinking that he can get Ex-Aid's, his bottle. I like the
fact... Not a fan.
No. Me either.
Speaking for myself as well.
Yeah. Poppy is sacrificing herself because everybody's been infected.
Except not really.
Basically, everybody turns into a freaking Bugstar zombie.
Yeah.
And start infecting other people with the turkey head of death.
Turkey head of death. I mean, Thanksgiving did just happen, so
yeah,
timely as well.
But
for us,
it's so weird because we had the whole thing a little while ago before this, where everybody got infected initially, and seeing the hospitals overwhelmed with people and the ambulances just rushing through.
It got real.
It got real fast. I sit here
my mom is a public health nurse. I know that
flatten the curve.
I know that some of our viewers, they have either they themselves or they have family and loved ones who work on the front line. We salute you.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where
we're sorry you have to deal with stupid people.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm sitting here
I'm sorry for everyone who has to do that.
Same. But this is just one of those ones where I'm sitting here watching this I knew watching this show. I didn't. Well, actually, I can't even say I knew, but it's I didn't think about it initially, but watching this show, I went, because it got too real. But yeah, seeing the hospitals overwhelmed and then those people getting reinfected later, because we end up focusing on this mom and her kid because Nico ends up helping them. Because I think this is the part where I sort of turn. I'm not going to say fully because I still didn't really like it that much.
Because she still sucks.
Yeah, but it's I sort of started to see Nico a little bit better because she wanted to help so bad, but she just didn't know what to do. And you saw her break down a little bit, which I'm sure, we've seen stories of, nurses and doctors just not being able to handle all of this at one time. It's a lot of stress. We see Taiga and Hiro just standing there. What do you do at the time?
What can you do?
And then at the end of the episode, everybody's cured.
Practice good bedside manner. Try and help the patient's mental health if you can.
Yeah, and then, it's back. Oh, it's worse.
It's Kronos.
And then Peridot ends up more or less dying.
And I got real worried for a second.
Peridot more or less ends up dying in this episode.
Because I thought you were just mispronouncing Corona.
And then
no.
Poppy ends up sacrificing herself to spread the vaccine over
everyone.
At the same time. And
Except
then
not really, because she comes back.
Yeah. And then in episode 45, we get the shot from the beginning of the title sequence, which I thought was a genius way to just put this in there. But they had to separate.
Makes you wonder how early they shot it.
Oh yeah, I don't know, because it's one person writing every single episode of this show, which really helped because he was static throughout the entire thing.
Mm.
But I do love the fact that even though we do not like the level 1 forms, they put it in the show as the only way to separate like the big buckster from the person, you have to do it in this form.
Yeah.
So it's just like
again, makes sense in context.
Yeah,
just
it doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good.
But yeah, I love how we're gonna bring this back from the beginning. We're doing this, and we're using everybody to go ahead, and then we're just finally gonna beat them in these forms because when game day
level
is
2 at night,
it's expensive.
But
I appreciated it because it was a nice aesthetic change.
Yo, it's very, especially because their eyes light up.
Yeah.
So you end up getting this shot. It just looks incredible.
It's a pretty badass shot.
It's so cool.
You don't get to say that much about Toku, but that's a pretty badass shot.
Yeah. And then you just end up having that moment of everybody like actually beating him.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks so like when Game Day has left him and died because Game Days exploded, like they could beat him in the level 2 forms because he had no more power. Game Days took everything with him.
Mm-hmm.
So they just beat the shit out of Kronos.
So in this, would you then consider this not a case of inconsistent power levels, but it works that they use level 2?
Oh yeah, it works that they use level 2.
Okay.
Because they took it, like it doesn't work as much of, because the power levels at this point are all still sort of even.
Yeah.
But it's like at this point, it works thematically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it that.
Thematically and also in story.
Yes. And then here at the end of it...
It isn't just for the sake of, let's bring the old form back.
Yeah.
Which has been done in previous shows.
Yeah. At least here, especially at the end of this episode where they're just like, we still got work to do. Those people who were game over playing Kamen Rider Chronicles.
One of the things I absolutely love about the final episode is... do we want to backtrack a little bit and do we want to talk about Kronos' death?
Let's talk about Kronos.
And how he rage quits.
He rage quit the hell out of this game.
They beat him, but it's like, I'm going to quote you, Marcus. You thought you could kill me? Only I can kill me.
And he does.
And that's what happens. He injects himself with a cartridge and he dies.
He rage quit. He rage quit hard.
He rage quit life.
And then they were just like, this is not the end of it. We still got work to do. We still got to bring these people back.
And getting back to what I was saying earlier, yeah, the first 10 or so minutes, I think, or maybe even less than that, like 6 or 7, is the fight. Is our final battle with Kronos. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the show is the aftermath.
Yeah.
And I loved that so many times.
Yeah, we don't get to see the aftermath a lot.
I've talked a lot on Tokucast about how we needed to breathe. Mm-hmm. We needed to focus on these characters. We needed to do something that wasn't a fight scene for once. And this show gave me that in the finale. Because I've always wanted to be like, look, okay, yeah, you beat the bad guy and all. And then we get 30 seconds over the credits of all the characters high-fiving each other, saying, oh, aren't we the best? We did a great job. And that's not what they do in this one. They actually give themselves the time. Even though the show's only 45 episodes, everything gets the time it deserves. Let's give ourselves 20 minutes, and we have Dr. Kyotaro introducing Emu to the press, and him talking about how there's still a lot of work to be done. We still need to move forward. It's not over.
No.
There's still more, a doctor's work is never done.
Mm-hmm.
It's never done. There's always going to be people who are sick. There's always going to be people who are injured. There's always going to be someone who needs help, whether it's mentally or physically. And we are going to keep fighting.
Which I'm not sure how you're going to feel when we end up getting to the trilogy where it's like that's the actual final stories of this show.
Well, we're doing the movie reviews next week, so...
The trilogy will be last.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's next week then?
Next week is Go Rider, which I'm so excited to talk about. And the Ghost Ex-Aid movie.
Okay.
Which I'm super excited to do because it's my favorite KR movie crossover-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they actually do give it into the story in the trilogy, which is the last thing we're going to be doing. But yeah, that's the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the characters.
Okay.
Let's talk about Emu first. How do you feel about Emma?
Above average.
Wasn't a fan at first, but as the show went on, he grew on me.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about most of these characters. When pretty much everyone, when they first get introduced, like the first, as I said earlier, like way early on in this review, the first 25-ish episodes are pretty hit and miss. I may not have said that exactly, but it feels like the story kept undercutting itself. A lot of dramatic moments never felt like they were given the weight they needed to. I wasn't a huge fan of any of the characters, either personality-wise or the way they all seemed to mesh together. It just never seemed to work. And I kept thinking to myself as the first half of the show went on, I was like, really, Marcus? This is your favorite? I kept thinking to myself, I'm 20 episodes in, and it's good. Certainly better than the last one we reviewed, but it's not.
No, it's not.
But it's not I'm not quite feeling it yet. And then once we hit episode 25, and once Kamen Rider Chronicle gets introduced, and especially once we get into the latter, I want to say the latter 10 episodes or 15 episodes, that's when it really started to click with me, and it's like, okay. Now I get what Marcus sees in this. It all starts to make sense now.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together. And I think... I don't think this show is great, but it eventually gets there.
But Emil as a character, like you said, I didn't really like him at the beginning either. He came off a little bit, but...
naive.
Yeah, and especially in some cases.
Well, here's the thing, though. That's kind of how a lot of doctors start off as.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
That's any profession. You get into any new profession, you're going to start off not knowing nothing. But especially in the medical world.
Well, there's a difference between not being knowledgeable and being naive. Emu seemed to be knowledgeable, but naive in terms of how life works, in a sense, and so. Which a lot of interns do. It's like, I'm going to go, I'll be a doctor, I'm going to make a bunch of money, and blah, blah. I'm not saying all people who go into that profession do that, but it's the stereotype. And then all of a sudden, you have your 12-hour shift in the ER, and you're like, fuck.
And then
life smacks you across the face with rings on.
And then you have the first death that you end up having to experience in this field.
Oh, yeah.
Which happened with Kyria.
There was an actual episode of Scrubs, I think Dr. Cox is talking to a bunch of interns, and he just goes, you're going to kill someone. It's going to happen. Eventually, you're going to make a mistake, and it's going to get someone killed. But it's not about not making the mistake and avoiding that as long as possible. It's about what you do when it happens. And how you go, that's the job, and you go and keep going and do better. That's the whole thing.
And I think...
You're gonna kill someone.
I think Emu really got that. Especially later on when he... when Dan... Kuroto died the first time. It's like, yes, Kira died, but it really didn't have anything to do with what Emu did. That really didn't happen until Kuroto died, even though that was on Perido's behalf. And he died in the most hilarious way possible. But... I love...
That's a lot of people in this show.
Yeah, but with going with
Kuroto,
that's like his entire character.
That's his thing.
But as Emu went along, and like you said, he had a moment of just like straight cold reality to Peridot later on. It was just like, that's when Emu, I'm just like, I get you now. I feel like you're finally getting your legs.
We had lined up.
Yeah, I feel like he's finally got his doctor's legs. Like, you know what to do now.
Got your sea legs.
Yeah. I really started
a trial by fire.
I really started to appreciate him a lot more as the show went on. But yeah, I think he's really good as a protagonist in the latter half of the show. After, everything starts to happen to him and it's more...
I think in the latter half, but also taking that latter half into perspective and looking at where he came from, I think it works perfectly in the first half as well.
Yeah. Let's move on to Hero.
Wasn't a fan, honestly.
I was. The further along that his story went.
Again, it's like Emo. I didn't like him at first, and then as the show goes along, and you're looking at, you can't just look at one thing. You have to take it. You have to take it as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at this holistically, And you look at where he started, where he winds up.
Oh, excuse me.
And I think there's a moment. I think it's at the end of the surgeon arc. I think there was a moment where he looks at Emma when he says like "good job today."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You still have a lot to learn, but you did a good job." But he says it in his own way, and I think that might have been the moment I really started to come around to him.
I think his actual, at least for me, his best moment was like
he has a lot of good ones.
Right before he came back to CR, and Tiger like took a major beating from graphite, and he had like a whole bunch of internal bleeding that only Hiro really knew how to deal with, at least on that short of a basis, because everybody else who was just so far away. Hiro had to come back in, and Dan Masamune said, "If you botch the surgery, I'll bring your girlfriend back." And that was the moment that Hiro was just like, I can't do that. Not as a doctor. And I love that. I thought that was just like, that's the moment I'm just like, okay, I get you and I see where you're coming from. And that's when he started to like really open up to people. Like he and Taiga had just butted heads so much throughout most of this show.
Yep.
But then it was just like they really started to respect each other after that moment. And I'm just like, I love what he did and the sacrifice that he was willing to make. But he had this option that somebody gave him to save the person that he loved if he, more or less ends up killing this other person. But you're just like, I'm not going to put my title as a doctor on the line because of something that has already happened. This person's story is over. I can still help this one go. And I love that about him. Hiro was great.
Next.
Yeah. Taiga. Taiga's an interesting case. This is why I say that he and Hiro are basically on the same path from the same starting point. Because a lot of their stuff comes from guilt. Hiro about how he, didn't treat his girlfriend the best and he wants to have a better relationship. Wanted to have a better relationship before she died. And Taiga with everything that happened with the previous, with Zero Day and his friend dying, which is something we're going to talk about when we actually get to his movies. But yeah, it's just that guilt and the fact that he was so willing. He sort of has the opposite reaction that Hiro did, when he had his surgery. Where he was so willing to put somebody's life on the line by saving a Buckster to get everybody else's gas shots. He wanted everybody else's gas shots because he just wanted to make up for what he did. That's why he was just always trying to get everybody's stuff. Like, this is my gas shot, this is not yours. Even though it doesn't work with my color scheme. But to be fair, nothing does. When your color scheme is neon, yeah, you ain't got much. But I think
they made it work in 01.
Yeah. And even though we don't like her, Nico helped him the most.
Nico,
we're gonna talk about. We just want to combine.
Yeah, Taiga and his relationship with Nico is the reason that character worked.
Yeah. By
that I mean Nico. The way she comes into the story, just demanding that he beat up Ebu, and the way she's just kind of manipulating him throughout, but like in a very like open, not in a malicious way, but in a very bratty teenager way, which she is.
Yeah, she's like his little sister.
Yeah,
and I love that. I like their relationship because of that. Like, he really opened up because after a little while he's really starting to see her that way.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna protect this girl.
And then at the end, he gets his license restored, and she wants to be his assistant.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a fitting end for them.
Yeah,
for them in this story,
it really worked.
Because she's graduated high school, and now she's she wants to get into the medical profession, and work alongside him.
Yeah, she really started to look up to him as the story went along, and she, like we said at the beginning, she's terrible. She really does act like
she's awful.
Brat. She is such a brat.
Her motivation is it's like, okay, so you're a bratty teenager who can't let go of a grudge.
Yeah, because Emu beat me, and he doesn't remember me. But we end up learning out later, and this is where her story starts to shift a little bit. Once she learns that it wasn't Emu, it was Peridot who beat her. So a lot of her animosity was going towards him, and I love that. It's like she gets it. Like, I can't really hold a grudge against you anymore, even though I really don't like you still. It's just like, I can't hold a grudge against you because it was him who, caused me to act like the way that I did.
Right.
I like their story a lot. I like where Taiga ended. He definitely ended at a much better place than where he started out. He had
it for everyone.
Yeah, he had a full character arc. I'm gonna get over this guilt and actually try to move forward instead of being as bitter and as vindictive as I was at the beginning of the story. Let's talk about Kiria.
Oh boy, I can smell the ham from here.
I love him though.
One thing I will, well, not one thing, another thing I will say about this show is, if you're going to watch it, you need a high tolerance for cartoonish antics, shall we say. Because
a bit of a
in terms of aesthetics and in terms of characters and acting and writing and overall story structure, this is in many ways a live-action anime. It's a live-action cartoon. It has a lot of the same... Shall we? I don't want to spin this in a negative way. I want to say, because I've said this before, and many people have also said it. There are things that work in animation that don't translate to live action.
Olive Go
And there are things in the show that I think are examples of that being true, and there are also things that I think are able to surpass that.
But why are you relating that to Kiria instead of Dan?
That's who I was thinking we were talking about.
Nope, we're talking about Kiria.
But okay, here's how I can relate it to Kiria: a man turning into a bicycle. There we go.
But him as a character,
there, saved it.
He wasn't good at telling.
I was thinking of Kuroto. That's why I was confused.
He was not good at telling the truth.
No.
At least not at the beginning. He got better as he started to open up to this group of people, and even though he's ended up forgiving, I'm not going to say completely, because let's face it, that whole thing with him and Dan Kuroto when they were actually making the antibody for Game Days, that was a lot of vindictiveness. He was like, I'm not going to admit that this feels good punching you. But
I will say one of my favorite moments is when he reveals, is when we find out that he was betraying him and that he's still a good guy.
Yeah. And
that moment where we find out what he whispered, and he whispers, I'm lying, just go along with it.
Yeah, go along with it.
Just play along. And he does. It was great.
It worked. His character, I wouldn't say he had, like, at least
he was one of the few characters that I liked where he started off.
Yeah, he didn't have
where he finished out.
as big of a full circle arc as Taiga and Hiro.
Yeah.
But where his story started as to where he ended up, where he can actually trust people again and tell the truth, I think it really worked for him. And his actor, I think his actor did it really well as well.
Yeah.
I can't see many people playing this character like he did. His actor brought something to, and I can say that for actually pretty much everybody.
I would say that for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, everybody in this cast really did something very well done. But yeah, I love Kiria. I think because of the fact that he was pretty static, but he still had a full arc, just not as big. He's one of my favorite characters in this show. I think it's just because of the fact I also really like his personality. Let's talk about Dan Kuroto.
So what I said earlier, apply that to this guy instead.
Copy, paste.
Copy, paste, Control C, Control V.
I love him. He is such...
And he went a little too much for me.
Well, that was a little much.
I don't think he ever...
Like I said, you need a high tolerance for it.
That's why I said I don't have a high tolerance.
I don't think he ever went too much
in this.
It's one of those, in a cartoon, I feel like this would have played a lot more. It would have played better, but I think it winds up working because the actor has so much energy.
Yes.
He has so much energy and so much physicality, and he is able to work with the role so well that I think I could wind up giving it a pass.
Dan Kuroto.
Well, I shouldn't say I think. I said I do.
His actor, because of the fact that this all started from him being tired, and they just said, go with it. That's your character now. Especially when you end up getting like him from the beginning where he's all like, oh, I'm the nice CEO guy.
Oh, yeah, because it's a very drastic shift.
It is a huge shift, but in the absolute best way possible. Because he becomes...
It's his true self coming out.
Yeah, he becomes so much of a meme.
That's
further...
Because that's the mask when he's Mr. Prim and Proper CEO, and then eventually that just crumbles away.
That ego.
And all the... You know who he kind of reminded me of?
Who?
But much less cartoony. He is a much more cartoony version. Crow from Persona 5.
Yeah.
Akechi. The way he has the Detective Prince persona... Where he's on, he's on all his talk shows and he's very well-spoken, polite young man. And then after, especially in Royal, where we get that third semester and we really get to see more of who he really is.
Yeah.
And he's just, a psychopath for he's
a sociopath.
I don't even know about that because he still does want to do the right thing.
I mean, he can be Sherlock from Sherlock Holmes. He's a high-functioning sociopath. Sherlock still wants to do the right thing, but for the wrong reasons.
Which is exactly what Akechi does.
I feel like he wants to do it for the right reasons, though.
I don't know. A lot of his stuff is based on revenge.
Less so in the third semester.
We'll talk about that after.
I'm about to say, this is not the place.
Dan Kuroto is just like...
I still thought it was an apt comparison.
This is his personality. He is just asshole man. And he becomes a full meme because...
he becomes meme man.
On Japanese Twitter, they started sharing a lot of stuff.
Oh, did they?
About him. He got 2 figures, one of the back bend near the end of the episode, where you're just like, I'm the best. And another one of him with
your new Dan Kuroto action figure with flexible back.
And when he first or the second time, the actual time the zombie gets completed in that back bend, they made a figure of that. They made a figure of the zombie one going like this.
200 points of articulation.
He got
all in the vertebrae.
I think he got as much as Emu did in this show. And that says something because he wasn't the protagonist.
No.
But he became such a thing. They tried to recreate him again next year, and it failed terribly. So
I'll find out when I watch it. So
yeah, when you watch Bill, that'll be a time. But yeah, they made one of the continue. I love this man.
Isn't it great?
But
Isn't it great how I articulate? Yeah.
But yeah, he made the latter part of the show. He made the latter part of the show just fun to watch because he was just so over the top, always and forever, and he never apologized for it. It was just, I'm the best, and you're gonna deal with it. I love that man. All right,
next.
I'm debating on whether or not I want to talk about Asuna, Poppy, but I do want to talk about Peridot.
Let's do it.
Beginning to end.
Beginning, I had a lot of problems with the villains in the show because it seemed like they just copy-pasted the same guy 3 times. And, like I said, in episode 40, and everything else in between, more so moving into the latter half of the show, but...
Yeah, after Lovely's death, when he actually had to deal with consequences, that he could die and not come back. And... just watching him, in episode 39, where he had, the first time he played to Emma, just I just want to play games. That's all I want to do. And Emma's just you got to learn the consequences of your actions. And just beats the shit out of him and kills him. And we end up having that scene of him drowning. And then in the next episode... Used
to great effect in the next episode where we see Emu in the water swimming up to him.
And, their hands reaching out.
And their hands reaching out and he pulls them out.
Yeah. Oh, and like you said...
That is chef's kiss worthy.
Him breaking down is just so well done. It's so incredibly well done to actually see him just in that pain. And the actor really sells it. God damn, the actor is so good in that. Because, like you said, even watching the show coming the second time, I forgot how good that scene was because of him. And the arc that his character goes through of actually, not just wanting to play around with everybody, but to actually value life as a thing. And him working with Emu to beat Kronos. He's just fantastic. And I think this might be, just because of where they end up going, especially when it's circled around him as much, where the villains end up going in this show makes them some of my favorites. Simply because just every villain has a place. Either you end up, working with the heroes, even if your ego is as big as it is, or you rage quit and you kill yourself because You can't kill me. Only I can kill me. I love it. Peridot was great. Asuna, puppy people. She was a bit annoying.
Starts as one big puppy people pain in the neck.
Puppy people panic.
That happens too.
She is a bit annoying, especially
early. That's like a bit more like
especially at the beginning of the show. But as the show goes along and they really start to make her calm down, and you find out that she is Dan Kuroto's mother's Bugster, it's just like I sort of get why they did with her what they did. She was supposed to be the big mascot, but
that's what she was.
One, that ended up becoming Dan Kuroto, and two, it's just like she had layers. She wasn't just people panic the entire time. She actually went somewhere.
She was like an onion, or an ogre,
or a parfait,
But yeah,
I mean, it's Japan. Everyone loves parfaits there.
I think she did really well.
Over here too.
And everybody loves Shrek.
At least the first.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, the fourth one was really good. I thought it was good.
I don't think I've seen the fourth one.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's also been a very long time since I've seen it.
I really liked her. I liked her more. Like you said, everybody in the show gets better. Like there's no, I don't think even Graphite and Nico, who I think had the least.
Yeah.
At least they got something.
Graphite probably got the least out of all of them.
Yeah, even more than Kirya, but Kirya had so much to do. Like he was actually pretty much in every episode after he came back.
Yeah.
And Graphite wasn't in everyone, so he didn't get as much.
Trying to think about the show, and I think about how underwhelming the first half was and how great the second half was. This really is a case of you got to stick with the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it is a show that demands reflection after you're done.
This is one of those shows
you have to look back on where you came from to see where you got.
This is one of those shows where it's like people. I remember when we were watching, like when I was watching it live, and I was watching it with actually like other people and stuff. People were like into it at least at the beginning, but it took a little bit. And then episode 12 happened, and Kirya died, and that was like, oh shit, here we go. And then it's like that next arc happened, and the next arc, it just kept building on top of that. So like every single time, like they kept ramping, and I love that about it. I love this show. It's still my favorite writer show. Even after watching it a second time, which is, not helped some things and helped others. So we'll see. Yeah, I can't wait till we get to the rest of this month. We get to watch my favorite crossover movie, and I finally get to see the trilogy, which I haven't watched yet. So that'll be a fun time. Next time, we'll be doing, like I said a little while ago, we'll be doing Ghost Ex-Aid and KAmen Sentai Go Rider. So those will be fun things to watch. The Zone Special, we'll be watching that on there. And after this month, because we'll be coming back second week of January, the next review, so actual episode 105, we'll be doing Garo the Anime Season 3. Vanishing Line. That's the next one we'll be doing after this.
Alrighty then.
But yeah.
Something nice and short.
Well, let us know what you guys think of Ex-Aid in the comments down below. You agree, disagree, if you've got your own thoughts. As always, follow us on all the things that we have. Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, Twitch. You know the drill.
Thank you all for watching.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.